to the garden. We'll be putting a mound in today. It's a little difficult for me to talk with the mask on, and I'll just ask everyone to back up while I see, so I can take my mask off and be safe, social distancing. Okay, that'll make it easier. So this is going to be a Three Sisters Mound, and this is just a demonstration of how it would go into the ground. When you're doing a mound, if you're creating your mound yourself at home, what you would want to do is you kneel on one knee, one leg up, one hand down, and you reach out. So wherever you reach to, that's the center of your mound. So if this was my mound, I would reach here. You reach to the center. So we'll pretend that that was all the way out there. That's how you know how big the center of your mound is. If you're doing it on grass, then at this point, what I would do, I would mark that center, I would stand, and I would march with my feet together until I pack the grass down, and then I would put a layer of compost, and sometimes I just scrape soil from around to make the mound, and then I burrow down inside. I'll put pureed fish or fish in the bottom. I'm kind of careful not to put fish bones or whole fish because for some reason the raccoons like to dig it out. So today I'm going to talk about putting in the corn, beans, and squash for our mound garden, which they grow all together in a very nice way, and I could launch into this very large, long, drawn-out scientific reasoning behind it. But we knew from the very beginning that they, from the creation story, that they would grow together. So these seeds would be soaked. I soak them. It doesn't have to be a long amount of time. Somewhere between an hour to 8 hours. Don't go more than that. That's a little bit long. So I usually soak them just before I go to bed, and then in the morning, first thing, they're ready to plant. So the seeds are soaked, and because the top of the mound is flat, this is where your corn is going to go. So I'm just going to demonstrate the corn. So just like all of our other seeds, they have a space to go down. This is bean, this would be squash, and halfway between that is corn. So we're looking at that's kind of space right there. You can still see it when it's pushed into the ground, and then you would put them. And I'm very careful to put in, and this is what I know to be true from what I was taught, that you put in 3, 5, 7, 9, depending on the size of your mound. So this mound for me, I'm going to put in 7, and then they'll grow together. This will help them support each other until the baby sisters, because that's the oldest sister, until the baby sister is planted. So the corn needs to grow. Now we'll just pretend this is time warp, and the corn's now this tall. So once it's about 4 or 5 inches tall, then you can put your beans in. These are a really nice bean to plant. I put 7 corn in. These are the baby sister, and this is a climber. I always put a climber in. Some people don't, but I always do because the baby sister likes to climb up the older sister as she grows, and they grow together and they support each other. So then once the corn is up, the beans would go in around, and I have 7 corn, so I would put 5 beans, and beans go in that far in the ground. So that's how far we would have to make the hole for these, and in they would go. So you can almost not see them. So now our corn is about this tall, and the beans have started to sprout up. Then it's time to put the squash seeds in. I sometimes put my squash in this a day or two after the beans, even though they haven't started to come up. That's up to you. So the middle sister, or our squash, and these in particular are, this is a Hopi orange squash seed. Even though they're big like the bean, they don't need to be as far in the ground. But their job as the middle sister is to protect this mound. So you want to go about halfway down the mound and make a spot for them to be in the soil. So about halfway down, and you're watering from the top down. So there's your corn is in and up, your beans are coming up, and you've put your squash in. So after a couple of weeks, it'll start to fill out. Once it does, you'll have to water it less, and you'll have to weed it not at all. The middle sister, the squash, will do its job to keep pests and critters away from your corn and beans as it grows. This is the most ideal way to grow these 3 things, these 3 lovely sisters together. So there's your mound. I hope you have fun putting a mound together. It's easy, fast, and super nutritious food comes from it, and it's really done the way our way. So happy mound gardening.